welcome to Rotted Reviews, and today I'm going to be tackling yet another Rotted request, this time coming from patron Nikki, who wanted me to watch and review The Witches. Well, not that one. Not that one. Not that one. Not that one. That one. The 1966 Joan Fontaine movie. Now, Nikki's reasonings for picking this particular movie are varied, but they include the fact that she watched a lot of Hammer horror when she was a kid and kind of got her into the horror genre. The fact that this one, as a Hammer horror, is a bit unknown and under the radar and deserves to be watched. And also, it's a favorite of hers. Despite its flaws, it still kind of holds up. And it was also a passion project for Joan Fontaine, who stumbled across the novel that it was based on. The novel, written by Nora Lofts under the pen name of Peter Curtis, actually enthralled her to the point where she bought the film rights to it and brought it to Hammer as a project. So this veteran star of the silver screen really kind of went out on a limb with this project, and unfortunately the box office wasn't very receptive, and it turned out to actually be her last feature film. She did continue acting in various other ways, but unfortunately, as far as anything that actually made it to a movie theater, this was her curtain call. And Joan takes the lead role in this film as Gwen Mayfield, a woman that is haunted by traumatic events of her past and winds up in the recovery process getting a job offer at a private school in England. It's a fairly nice school set in a nice small country environment where she can teach children in a quiet atmosphere and continue recovery. Unfortunately, if Hammer and Amicus has taught me anything, it's that small remote English countrysides are never exactly what they seem, and something nefarious always waits under the surface. So too does Gwen find herself in this particular predicament as she uncovers some oddities here and there regarding the students and their families that wind up leading to a conspiracy of witches. Now, I did enjoy this movie almost thoroughly, but as Nikki said, this is not without its flaws. And I think as far as the storyline goes and the beats that it hit, it worked reasonably well. Joan Fontaine did a fantastic job as Gwen, and I can see why she was enthralled with this storyline. A lot of the mysterious pieces of the puzzle kind of fall into place in ways that are just simply captivating, and I do heartily recommend this movie for the characters and for the storyline, if for nothing else. Additionally, it was shot beautifully and just had a lot of things going for it in terms of cinema and in terms of classic horror. If you are the kind of person that has watched Hammer features, but have largely kind of stuck to the classic monster movies and the traditional Hammer actors of Peter Cushing, so on and so forth, this would be a really good one to branch out with and try something a little lesser known. As far as my complaints about this one go, it's mostly kind of due to the tone and some of the odd shifts that this took. The screenwriter that brought Nora Lofts' novel to the film world, Nigel Neal, wound up kind of wanting to play around a little bit more with thematic elements that involved some of what he found to be the inherent silliness in some of the black magic elements that kind of permeated some of these witches' lore. And unfortunately, that kind of ran afoul of some of the producers, the director, so they decided to go with a more serious tone and ditch the campy comedy elements. And I think that that was actually the right move, I gotta say, because the movie itself was really good. And I think that it gets to be about towards the ending portion that the tonal shifts start to kind of break down a little bit for me. And there's something that is both kind of turned me off and also was a bit madcap hilarious about some of the ending sequences involving some of the climactic rituals and so on that were just silly on its face. And for trying to keep a serious tone throughout, I can see where Nigel Neal's influence kind of still permeated this and wound up in a place of just oddities. I honestly don't even know really how to put this. It just felt like such a tonal departure from how the rest of the movie went that, again, it both detracted from the film that I had been watching and loving, but at the same time also really kind of scratched that itch of the silly, campy, bad movie lover in me. And it's not that I didn't appreciate that. It's just that's not the movie that I had been watching. It's not what I had been bracing myself for. So when those climactic rituals did take place and they were as silly as they were, it just felt so odd. but it didn't make me hate this movie. It didn't really take anything away from it. It just kind of wound up being in this place of, I can see the flaws. I can see some of the paint chips coming off the models, and some of it did start to show its blemishes. So yeah, those were the elements that I think more than anything else that I would have to agree with Nikki on in terms of this movie having its issues. But overall, I did find it to be a compelling watch with good performances, good storylines, good writing, well filmed, beautiful scenery, beautiful countryside, and just an overall pleasant Hammer horror of yore. So I do recommend 1966's The Witches. So thank you very much for joining me. Thank you to Nikki for recommending this one. Take care of yourself, and I look forward to seeing you in my next review. Remember, next time you want to watch a horror movie, first make sure that it's good and rotted.